Are you heading to the beach this summer? Well, chances are that you will be, but beware, you may leave with more than just a tan. Believe it or not, there are dangers lurking in the water, in the sand, and beyond, and that can make you sick. Well, joining me now with the top summer beach hazards you need to look out for is Dr. Richard Firshein. He's the author of the Vitamin Prescription for Life. Richard, thanks so much for coming in.
Thanks for having me.
All right, so obviously people know to go to the beach, there's the drowning, right, in the ocean, and there's the sunburn. But do we really have to worry? I mean, is this really a concern?
Well, this is a case of not sticking our head in the sand. There are a number of problems people need to think about. First on my list is the water. Right. And one of the biggest problems in the last year was 20,000 beach closings. Now, when people hear that, they need to know why. And the most important reason is bacteria in the water from sewerage overflow.
Right, so you can check with your local area to find out if the beaches are safe, but there's also problems with the sand as well?
Well, absolutely, because the E. coli, which gets in, and sewer waste contains a lot of human waste, contains a lot of problems as well, other pesticides and solvents. But the big problem is bacteria. That can get into the sand from the ocean, and actually in the sand can still cause problems. So parents need to be aware of that, particularly after those closure days and when their kids are playing in it.
Okay, because they really do cover themselves in sand. But another thing parents do when they go to the beach, they bring food. They bring snacks. So you got to be careful about food poisoning.
Well, big problem. And every time you see someone on the beach bringing something loaded with mayonnaise, you realize that there's a problem. Mayonnaise can go bad very quickly, and staph, which is a very important bacteria, can grow on the mayonnaise between an hour to 4 hours afterwards. It can cause severe illness. Recommendations: make sure you put things on ice. Make sure you carry a styrofoam container to keep things on ice, and don't put a lot of mayonnaise on your food.
All right, and another thing, once the kids they've had their food, right, and they've been in the sand, time to hit the water. But swimmers can run into problems. One of the big things you hear about is this thing called sea lice, and it was confusing to people because they think it's actual lice in the water, but it's not. Explain that.
It's not. I mean, unfortunately, it's a misnomer, and people get very nervous. People hear sea lice and they think, oh my God, I've got something very serious. Well, sea lice are actually the larvae of jellyfish, and they procreate in particularly warm waters, particularly down in Florida and a lot of the Caribbean waters. And when those sea lice get under your armpits or in your bathing suit, they actually contract just the same way a jellyfish would, and you get those little stings. But if you ever go into a cluster of it, you'll know about it.
Yeah.
What we recommend people do is make sure they wash off cool water. Take off your bathing suit, and don't try to pressure those little sea lice to release their toxin.
Yeah, a lot of times people start scratching and pressing, especially inside their bathing suit. It makes it worse. Another thing, swimmer's itch. That's different from sea lice. Let's talk about that.
Absolutely. Now, swimmer's itch is a parasite. It's just a soma. But the parasite actually really wants to attack other animals like snails and birds, particularly ducks. What happens is we come in contact with them, and they embed themselves in our skin. When they die, they release a toxin, and that toxin is what causes the itch. Again, recommendation is if you think you've come in contact with it, take off your bathing suit and shower in cool water, not hot. Don't want to kill them.
Okay, now finally, some real significant health problems that you might be able to get: hepatitis and other viruses from the beach. Talk about
Absolutely. We know that there are problems in the water, and particularly when medical waste gets in the water, you have to be careful. Make sure you wear sandals or shoes when you're walking on the beach so that you don't come in contact with a hazardous needle. Needles can contain blood, and blood can contain hepatitis. The other big problem people don't realize is MRSA. Now, MRSA is Methicillin-resistant Staphylococcus aureus. That actually can be transmitted in the water, and frequent swimmers are up to 27% more likely to contract MRSA than those who are not.
All right, Richard, I've been to the beach. I haven't had any problem, but I did see sea lice, and I know people were very concerned. Thanks a lot.
Thank you so much for having me.
Thanks for coming in.